has Harriet Hartman hopes that the only lasting damage that those Fathers for Justice protests left on her roof were perhaps her public esteem rather than cracked tiles or missing slates. The focus now turns exactly on what the campaigners were trying to do. They are, of course, both safely down, Mark Harris and Jolly Stainsby. We can't talk too much about them because they might be facing charges, but we can talk about a stance taken by the founder of the Fathers for Justice campaign, Matt O'Connor, with whom we're going to speak in just a second. He's made the assertion that family breakdown is a bigger threat to this country than global warming. From a personal perspective, as those of you who've listened to me for some time will know, I got divorced last year, and the only thing I can say, the only one glimmer of relief I had in all of that was in the tortuous 18-month process that cost far more money, much more money than it should have done. Fortunately, my two sons were of an age. There's no such thing as the right age, because ultimately nobody ever wants their parents to divorce. But the lads being the ages that they were, certainly as regards access to the children was never an issue because they both had their own cars. What it must be like when children are much, much younger, down in their pre-primary school or primary school years, must be absolutely ghastly, and that really lies at the heart of what gents such as the two people on Harriet Harman's roof and Matt O'Connor are trying to bring attention to. Matt joins me now. Good morning. Hello, Matt, can you hear me? We seem to have lost Matt O'Connor. Final call for Matt O'Connor. I'll talk a little bit about the article. We got him? Matt. You got me? Matt O'Connor, can you hear me? No, absolutely not. So we'll try and get him back. What Matt talks about is that family law is a national tragedy. 100 years ago, women struggled in their battle for equality. Suffragettes understood that our country was founded on liberty and democracy, but it's not like that anymore. Let's try again. Matt, can you hear me?
I can do. Hi.
Gotcha. Okay, hiya. When you say that it's potentially a bigger threat to this country than global warming, those are powerful words. What do you base it on, Matt?
Well, basically, in fact, those aren't even my words, Nick. Those are the words of a senior family court judge, Sir Paul Coleridge, who said that. I met with the judge about 2 weeks ago in the Royal Courts of Justice in a meeting, and we discussed the problems facing the family courts, facing society, with the 27 dead teenagers last year on the streets of London, the 16 dead teenagers, I think, this year on the streets of London. And we said, what are we going to do about this problem? And it is a serious and happening social problem now.
And what is it? Spell it out as it actually impacts on dads and children.
The impact on dads is this. Fathers have been made redundant emotionally in the family courts. They've been made redundant financially by the Child Support Agency. And now they've been made redundant biologically with the Human Tissue and Embryology Bill, which removes the need for a father by design. The impact on society is catastrophic, in our opinion. You remove fathers from kids, it's like an emotional amputation. Kids fall over. The boys who are growing up on the streets of our capital city today, 1 in 3 of them have no fathers. Those children are turning to the local drug dealer, the local gang leader, in terms of leadership and moral role models. And the consequence is we have a bloody harvest of bullets and blades on the streets of our capital, kids killing kids. And somebody, somewhere, has to do something about it. And Fathers for Justice, as far as we're concerned, we've tried dialogue, we've tried to engage with the government, they have shut the door firmly in our face, and we have no alternative than to take to rooftop diplomacy, Nick.
And what would you do? What would you have done in the courts?
We would make sure, and I think it's really important in the run-up to Father's Day, this government, this Prime Minister Gordon Brown, who said nothing matters more than being a father, they should make an emphatic statement in support of fathers and in support of fatherhood in the run-up to Father's Day this Sunday.
But what do you want in tangible means? What do you want to hear happening in the courts?
We want to see all fathers and mothers given a right in law to see their children, and their children to see them. That's really important. We want fathers to be treated equally. In terms of legislation with regard to the Child Support Agency, for example, mothers under legislation are treated as carers, fathers are treated as the parents without care. That means you're not a dad, you're a cash point.
In as much as the financial implications,
yeah.
You mean, Matt?
I mean, child support, call me old-fashioned, but child support should mean emotional and financial support. And treating dads just like cash points undervalues and undermines the whole role of fathers in society. It's really simple, Nick. We're not asking for more than mums, we're asking for the same. All we're asking for is let's plug fathers back into families this Father's Day.
What happens in the court, then? Is it, as I often hear, that in many cases family courts fine for the woman as soon as she makes whatever claims they might be, and dad is just relegated to the sidelines?
Yeah, it's not always as black and white as that, but I mean, certainly in 92% of court cases, custody or residency is awarded to the mother, and fathers, hundreds of thousands of fathers, are battling to go through the family justice system. Now, Harriet Harmen, by her own admission, says over 1 million parents every year enter the family justice system. By our calculation, over 500,000 children have lost contact with their fathers under the lifetime of this Labour administration. This is a catastrophe. And, nobody wants to have to take the actions that we've taken, and we've discussed this many times, I think, over the years.
Yes.
Nobody wants to have to go back to doing this. Not Jolly Stainsby, not Mark Harris. You'll have seen in today's Daily Mail, Mark Harris's daughter. The kids are now speaking out about this because they're old enough to speak about it, and say this is a travesty. This has destroyed our lives. This is destroying families. This government knows about the problem and is doing nothing about it. Is morally culpable. And if they won't act, then I believe that two of my eldest sons live in London, South London, not far from Harriet Harmen. I feel that I have a moral duty of care to my kids and to all children in London, that we all need to act. Be it protesters, be it politicians, be it churchmen, be it radio presenters, whoever. We've all got to pull together to try and sort this out.
Lastly, what are some of the worst stories you hear from some members of Fathers for Justice about how many years they've been without access to their children?
I've got a case on at the moment of a dying father who was diagnosed with leukemia about 3 weeks ago. His daughter was taken to Scotland, abducted to Scotland, however you want to describe it, 7 years ago. He's paid £40,000 worth in child support during that time. He has been denied even having a photograph of his daughter, and his ex-wife has started a new life. Yet this man is dying. We have tried to approach her and said, look, for humanity's sake, in the run-up to Father's Day, let Richard Castle see his daughter Jennifer. Just send the man a photograph. He's dying. Mark Harris, who was on the roof on Sunday, he had been jailed for 140 days in Pentonville prison, and I'm not joking. Read the Daily Mail today. Read his story. Jailed for 140 days for waving to his children. Children who 6 years later voted with their feet and went back to live with him. No father, no parent, let alone any children, should be put through the devil's labyrinth as the family courts, and a process that is profoundly abusive to children and to society as a whole.
Matt, I will leave it there. Thanks for your time. Matt O'Connor, spokesman for Father of Justice. You can find his piece in more detail in today's Sun newspaper. Let's just revisit some of those facts and some of those assertions as well. It was, in fact, Sir Paul Coleridge, a senior family court judge at the Royal Courts of Justice, who says, and of course Matt O'Connor agreeing, family breakdown is now in this country potentially a bigger threat to Britain than global warming. Matt O'Connor says the judge went on, if there was a pandemic, the government would pour massive resources into finding a solution. He also points out that according to UNICEF figures recently released, Britain was the worst country in the industrial world for children to grow up in last year. 1 in 4 children now grow up in a fatherless family. In the black community, that figure rises in some areas to 2 out of 3. Matt O'Connor asserting then, obviously, that it's important for a dad to be involved.